Two manufacturers, same industry. Same size, same problem. Both had a veteran engineer retiring. Both knew the clock was ticking. Both decided to do something with AI. 18 months later, one of them has a system that gets smarter every week. The other one has a very expensive chatbot that nobody uses anymore. The difference wasn't budget. It wasn't technical talent. It wasn't even the tools they chose. It was the question they asked at the very start. One asked, what can AI do for us right now? The other asked, what problem are we actually trying to solve? Those two questions led to completely different places. And today I'm going to walk you through both journeys so you can decide which road you're on. I'm Robert Dempsey, AI Knowledge Architect and the author of the AI Decision Advantage. Speed is seductive. When a vendor shows you a demo that summarizes documents in 30 seconds or answers questions in plain English, the instinct is to say yes immediately. And look, that instinct isn't wrong. Quick wins are absolutely real, and momentum matters. The question isn't whether to move fast, it's whether what you're building is a sprint or a foundation. Because in manufacturing, those two things produce very different outcomes when you're still running them 18 months from now. Let me show you exactly what I mean. Company A moved fast. Good for them. Within 6 weeks of their engineer announcing retirement, they had a chatbot deployed on their intranet. They fed the engineers' SOPs, a few maintenance manuals, and some process documentation. The demo looked great. Leadership was excited. The team started using it, and for about 90 days it worked. Workers could ask basic questions and get reasonable answers. New hires could look up procedures without bothering senior staff. But then the cracks appeared. The first problem, the chatbot didn't know what it didn't know. When a worker asked about an edge case, a failure mode that wasn't in any SOP, because Dave had always just handled it, the chatbot gave a confident answer, a wrong confident answer. The worker followed the guidance. The line went down for 4 hours. Trust collapsed almost overnight. Within 60 days of that incident, usage had dropped by 80%. The second problem, the system was frozen in time. The SOPs it was trained on were already 18 months old by deployment. Nobody had a process for updating it. Nobody owned it. It sat there, slowly becoming less relevant until someone finally asked the question nobody wanted to ask. Are we actually using this thing? The answer was no. The project was quietly shelved. Company A spent 8 months and a significant budget to end up roughly where they started, except now they were skeptical of AI and had a team that had been burned once and wasn't eager to try again. Company B took 3 months longer to launch anything. That drove their leadership crazy. The pressure was the same. Engineer retiring, knowledge at risk, board asking questions. But before they bought anything, they did one thing that Company A skipped right over. They asked what success looked like in 2 years, not 2 months. The answer they came to, a new engineer, 18 months into the job, should be able to handle 80% of the situations that previously required a senior mentor, without calling anyone, without digging through binders, without waiting. The answer changed everything about how they built. Instead of uploading SOPs, they spent 6 weeks capturing knowledge directly from the retiring engineer. Structured interviews, recorded walkthroughs, voice memos narrated in real time during actual repairs. They weren't documenting processes. They were capturing judgments, the why behind the what. Then they built a system designed to surface that judgment in response to real questions from real workers. And critically, they built a feedback loop. Every time the system gave an answer, the worker could flag whether it helped. Those flags fed directly back into the system, improving it with every interaction. Month 1, the system was useful. Month 6, it was noticeably better. Month 18, it had become the first place every engineer on the floor went before escalating anything to a senior colleague. The retiring engineer's knowledge wasn't just preserved. It was actively improving the performance of people who had never met him. That is the system. That is what Aegis is built to create. So what separated them? It wasn't the technology. Both companies used capable tools. It was 3 decisions. Decision 1, what to capture. Company A captured what was easy, existing documents, existing SOPs. Company B captured what was valuable, the reasoning, the edge cases, the judgment calls that exist only in a person's head. Decision 2, who owns it? Company A launched and moved on. Nobody was responsible for the system's health. Company B assigned ownership, someone whose job it was to keep the knowledge current, to run new capture sessions, to review the feedback and improve the outputs. Decision 3. What metric to optimize for? Company A optimized for deployment speed. Company B optimized for decision quality. How well the system helped a worker make the right call in a real situation. Speed gets you to launch, but decision quality gets you to value. The gap between those two outcomes isn't a technology gap, it's a judgment gap. And closing that judgment gap is exactly what separates a demo that impresses the board in Q1 from a system that protects the business in Q4. Let me be clear, quick wins are not the enemy. Shallow thinking is the enemy. If you're about to start an AI initiative in your operation, the most important question you could ask before you buy anything is, in 18 months, what do we want this system to actually do? Answer that honestly, and you'll make very different decisions about what to build and how to build it. Company B isn't smarter than Company A, they just asked a better question at the start. If you want help asking those questions and building a system designed to still be running and improving 18 months from now, apply for the Aegis pilot. We'll walk through your specific operation, identify where your knowledge is concentrated, and design a capture strategy built for durability, not just the demo. Link is in the description. If you're earlier in the process though, and want to benchmark where you stand, the AI Strategic Orientation Scorecard is linked below. It takes just 2 minutes and will show you exactly which decisions are most critical for your operation right now. Build for 2 years, not 2 months.